Bum, 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 bum. Just checking everything's set up okay. I'm muting my video off it so I don't get any weird feedback loops. There we go. And maybe getting a shot a bit better. That's okay, I think. Okay, I'm just gonna just play some stuff to see what the levels are like. So I'm just gonna do that. Okay. Right. Does the guitar sound loud enough there? Can you hear my voice loud enough? Also, hello, in case anyone's just joined us. It's not quite 6 yet, so I'll give it a few minutes before I start the actual lesson, so to speak. And I'll explain why I now have quite a clickbait title in Steve's solo finally cracked. Hi Ty Games, how's it going? Thanks, man. Hi, Matt. Good. So everything sounds good. That's good. So I'm using my phone again, which is why I've had to make another live stream video because I set it up on my desktop, and then for some reason you can't start the one you set on your desktop from your phone. So I had to make another one from my phone, and then la la la. So that's why it's a different video, so to speak. Hey, Darren. Thanks. Good. Sounds good. 10 a.m. California. God, I don't think I'd be quite up on a Sunday at 10 a.m. Cheers. Good to see you, Damon. But yeah, so I'm going to just keep saying as we go through. I have notation that's on my Patreon page. It's in the description. It's a public post, so anyone can download it and anyone can follow along with me. And I've had to... I've made a couple of corrections because when I was preparing for it, I heard some new things in the Steve solo, like the album version, and I think I finally know what he's doing in it. So I'm excited to try and share that with you all. Hello, Alberto. Sorry about the late something. I don't know what you mean there, but good to see you. Hey, Jose from Madrid, or Jose. Real or Atletico? I've got both strips at one point in my life, Real and Atletico. I like Diego Forlan, so I used to like Atletico Madrid when I was supporting him. Hey, Doctor. 10:28 in India. That's not too bad. I'll try and I won't be too loud. And we'll see about that. Hey, Nando from Chile. I'm sure we had a lot of people from Chile last time. Chile and Argentina seem to have quite a few South American fans. South America does seem to like their melodic rock. South America and Scandinavians and Italians, to be fair to them, they all like their melodic rock. Probably more so than the Brits. And saludos from Mexico, Marlon. Sorry, quite far away from my screen. I can't quite read all these names. And Coley, same here in Oregon. Waiting for the soul lesson. Oh, right. Well, good. Hopefully I can provide this lesson for you now. So I'll maybe give it a couple more minutes. Like I'll say, get the notation downloaded. There's a link in the description. And there's 2 notations I've uploaded because I finally figured out what Steve does on the album version. And I'm going to show that. Hey, Todd. Thanks, man. Hey, Simon, recognize that name a lot from Sweden. Yes, Sweden, always good with their AOR melodic rock, of course. So yeah, I was preparing for this stream because what I was wanting to do, and if any of you saw the original post about the stream, I was going to do Well, I am still going to do mainly the live versions of both Steve and Phil's solo from the In the Round concert. Hey John, and hello to Russia. I can't read that acrylic writing, if that's the right word. So I was just preparing for it again, just listening to everything, and on my little solo notation bundle that I've got, I had Steve's album one that I used to, like the one I've sent out to a couple of people before, and so I was just playing through that again, and when I was listening to it, I mean, to be honest, I don't listen to Hysteria a lot on headphones anymore because I've listened to it so many times. If I do hear it, it's probably more likely in the car when I'm driving, but because I've listened to Def Leppard so much, I'm trying to savor it more, so I'm not listening to them a lot. And if I do, it's usually live versions. So I was listening to another set of headphones, and just certain things popped out in the solo which made sense now on the album version. Because I used to think the album version, you know, I'm sure many of you have tried to play, you know, there's the classic pull-off way, which was, you know, that's the way it's been tabbed out in notation books and all that. But, you know, we always used to think that, well, it's not, he's not pulling off, he's doing, you know, he's staying around that same shape. So I was listening to it again, and I heard a couple of different notes in there, and it's so much easier to play now. I think I finally figured it out. So I'm really excited to try and share that. Hi Thelma, Journey fan, of course. Paul, good to see you again. Darth Welder, another one from Oregon, and hello Nikita. Yes, I've got some vinyl back here again because I don't want you just to stare at a blank wall. I've got 4 12 inches. And I'd like to get all the other ones and make up the full album. In fact, I've got the Love Bites version, which has the extra like segments, because the idea is you put all them together and makes the Hysteria album, and the Love Bites one. Sorry, it's got the extra ones because they didn't release 9 singles, of course. Resi. True, yeah, Phil solos only work shirtless, so let's... No, I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that, I'll save you the bother. Rewrite an old video in high quality. Not sure what you mean by that, but I'll take that on board. Okay, I think we've got enough people in here to start now. We're getting up there, 50 odd. I think that was about what we were at last time, so I think that's probably around the limit. So, let me just start again. Sorry if everyone's been in here and I've already said. Notation notes, link in the description, download to follow along with me if you want to. Or if you just want to enjoy me playing, then you can do that also. So I was originally going to do the live versions. In fact, I am still going to do the live versions of the Phil and Steve solo from Armageddon, the one from in the Round concert, because it's like, that's them at their peak for me personally. So those are the solos I want to do. And it continues on. I've done another couple of tutorials like early last year on Steve's live solo before Gods of War, his Too Late for Love solo, and also his outro and photograph. And they are also linked in the description as well if you want to see them. So I'm continuing on with that. Live solos from In the Round. And while preparing for this, I think I've figured out the album version. So I'm going to start with the album version. Good to see you, Davey. James, yes, I did say that. So, if you've got the notation notes, I've made a correction on the one which has all the solos, and I made a separate one which shows the 2 different versions of Steve's solo from the album. Now, on the album, we always used to think it was going down like this. Let me turn up. And to really play that up to speed, because you can hear it on the album, he's picking everything. And I could never play it like that. If I could play up that speed, there'd be some hammer-ons, you know. Doesn't sound the same though, it sounds rubbish. So my theory was with that solo, because it sounded so prominent and he was picking everything, and with everything I've read before about how they've done the drums, how they've done the bass, how they've done certain vocal parts, you know, the album was made in such mysterious circumstances in terms of what they use. You know, they use Fairlight samplers and stuff, and different, you know, DBX machines to loop sections or what have you. I thought maybe this solo was actually one that was orchestrated in a technological manner, so that it was played not real. I mean, you can actually hear there's two guitars in there that's layered up on it. But the main one to me always sounded like a harpsichord, which is a keyboard instrument. So I kind of thought, was it something like that as well? So just reading through. Yeah, Wood Brothers, yeah. So I was thinking, could it be a weird thing like string by string technique? So I always just thought it was like that. But now, after listening to it again on another set of headphones, listening to Armageddon for the first time in ages on a decent pair of headphones, I've heard that there's slight change in notes in there, and it's actually closer to what he plays live anyway, and it's a hell of a lot easier to play. So, if we just start with a really fast bit of Steve's solo, I just want to highlight this first, and then we'll carry on with the rest, okay? So the new way to play Steve's solo is like this. I'm going to play it slowed down first. You can see there's some slight different notes in there if you download the notation. But it's essentially this. Let's turn up again. I was trying to get that into my head again. So instead of going down the scale 12 to 11, 11 to 9 in this position, we're actually just going straight from 12 to 9. And instead of us always going to the 9th fret of the G, that E note, for these first two shapes, we're just going to the 9th fret of the B. So before, we'd always be going to that 9th fret of the G as like a pedal tone, so to speak. But now it's changed. Now it's not like that at all. And it actually helps with the flow of it a lot better when you don't have to skip that B string. So let me just play again through slowly. So this first shape is 12 to 9 on the high E, and then 9 on the B. And we're picking everything. Before we weren't picking everything. But you can definitely hear it on the record, he's picking everything. So the next shape is 11, 9, 9. So getting this up to speed, it's a lot easier to do when we're not having to skip that B string. So there's a couple little changes there. This next group of 3 notes, if we group it all into little 3 notes, so we have 12, 9, 9, 11, 9, 9. This next one, 9, 9, 9, going from the high E to the B to the G. This was the big turning point for me in terms of how this flowed. Because then that gets us onto the position of having that 9th fret of the G as like a pedal tone, so to speak. So. And then we go back to what it kind of looked like before with the, with how we thought it was before. 12, 9, 9, starting on the B, ending on the G, and then starting on the B again with the 10, 9, 9. So, I mean, I'm still not quite fully 100% down with this and how to play it up to speed, but it does feel a lot easier to do rather than the whole like that way. It's easy to go. Okay, so I think that's what he's doing on the album. It's still not easy to play, I'll give you that, but I think that's the new way, and I think that's the correct way of how to play the album version of the Armageddon solo. Okay, I was quite excited when I figured that out. I think I figured that out anyway. Okay, let's look through the comments again, just before we go into the main stuff. Hello Matthias from Brazil, and Astro Addy, I remember hearing or reading that comment many a times. Like I've said before, notation notes in the description. I'm now going to move on to the Steve's live solo. And by the way, if you are playing along with me, feel free to ask anything. If I'm going over anything too quickly, if you want me to replay stuff, like etc, etc, I'll do that for you. But I'm just going to try and go through the solos line by line, just showing them how how I'm fingering all the solos, and we go from there basically. So on the notation notes, I'm going to start with Steve's live one, which is the bottom of page 2. I've got his normal album one at the start, and then Phil's one at the end of that page with the live ending, which I'll do after this. And we've got Steve's live solo, and then at the end we've got Viv's variation, which I haven't quite played all the way through, so that's going to be fun to look at, but I'll look at it briefly. Hi Brian. I don't know how to play what it sounds like. Darren, yes, Viv plays it quite a different way, so it's which I'll cover. Yeah. So the main thing on the album version, from what we thought it was before, yeah, it's a different. It's like, because you see it tabbed out even on. I mean, I've got like an old Hysteria tab book that I bought just for a laugh, just to see what it was like, and even in there, it's got it tabbed the way that Viv would play it. So you think, you wonder how much that's influenced in terms of how they thought it was played on the album version. There you go, slightly different. So I'm gonna start with Steve's live solo. Should I try and play it through first of all, just to see what it sounds like? Just so we can get an idea of what the live version's like. It's something like this. So, let me start with the intro. So it's like. Okay, something like that, I believe. Let me just look through the comments again. I had a couple more. Hi Steph. Hi George. Used to be trying to figure out the way to play. Cool. And Philippe. Great. Let's get on with this start here. Now, obviously the main difference you can hear when Steve plays it live is that this opening part is not like on the record. The opening part he does, which is the descending bit. It's like the bridge bit afterwards, after the solo, when he does that, and you know the singing comes back in. And I like to think that that's maybe where the origin of the solo idea came from. That maybe he just had that melodic idea in there, and then they decided to build a solo around it. But of course, live he sticks more towards what it sounds like after the solo, the more arpeggiated descending run. Now I've got a couple of little notes in there which I'm maybe not quite as sure of, because he's got it on a more distorted sound. But you can play it that way and be closer to the record by doing a couple of upstrokes and adding a couple of notes in there. So for instance, if we just look at just the first bar there, we have. That sounds more like the record, whereas what I was playing before, I was just playing the open B and E strings after each G note. Which is more like the bridge part afterwards. So again, some more comments coming through. Yes, Darren, a country twang is very, very, very twangy. Hey Amy, and yeah, definitely Ham Glaze. I like Shotgun also. So we take a look at that first bar there. The way I'd like to play that is because we're descending down like that, and you want to keep the same hand shape. You don't want to change too many fingers on that. I use my second finger, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second finger. Second finger on the 9th fret. When we slide down to the 8th fret, that means we can bring on our first finger for the 7th of the B. Then that little chord shape there, we can continue to slide down for that 6-5. And we just keep following along like that, so. Keeping our second finger on that G string, sliding down, you see there on that second bar, There we go. Helps if you play it all together. When I get to that first fret note, there we go. Sorry, my computer just went off there. That's when I change and use my first finger, because there's no point sliding down all the way there. We have the next part, so we take a look at the next two bars. You can play this a number of ways as well. I'm sure Steve slides up from that 2 to the 7 there, so I use my second finger for the second of the D, first finger for the first of the G, and then we slide up. I'm not sure if Viv just stays down there, but I think you can hear when Steve plays, he definitely slides up to that 7. And those last chords there, pretty straightforward with that. I'm sure Steve plays those in chords. Let's do a couple more comments. Yeah, Darren, it's kind of like the I Believe in a thing called Love Soul, definitely. T-Rex, that's a great job. Okay, cool. Right, now the next part, how Steve would play the fast part live, is always something I thought was a hell of a lot more easier to play than the album version, because like I said, we all thought the album version was a different way. But this, the way he plays it here is actually closer to how I think the album version is now. So if I was just to play the next bar, so we're looking at, what's that, bar 39? Yeah. So the second line of the Steve live solo is something like this. Okay, so actually I was pulling off there from the 12th to the 9th, but I've written down there 12th to 11th. I might have to check that again. I'm sure it's 12th to 9. I might have to correct that, yeah. So basically, I used to think this was quite hard to get in the rhythm of it, because you have a little bit of a break. So you hit that 9th of the G. Turn yourself up. And you want to stay in this main shape here. So when I talk about guitar playing, I like to talk about home positions, which is pretty much where your first finger is going to lay. So it's going to stay on this 9th fret. And we're going to play all this next part with our first finger not moving from this 9th fret here. Because that's going to be our pedal tone, basically. So with my pinky, I come up and pull from the 12th to the 9th. Then we have the next bit, 11 to 9. And if you get in the habit, once you play that, it's easier to, with the pull off in there, it's easier to always go back to that 9th fret of the G. Then we end with those two like double stop chords, 9-10 and 9-9. Okay, and then he plays this next bar like all double stops. So the hard bit about that next bar is to really build your strength for the hammer onto the pull off there. So we're playing the 3 chords together basically. And you want to hammer on, I'm using my pinky here, you could easily use your 3rd finger for the 12th. And then 12-12 natural harmonics. The best way to ring out your harmonics is to play as close to the metal bar as possible, pretty much. And that's how you get that ringing out. Then we have the ending part. Which is something like that. So let me play through it at a medium pace. I'll put the distortion back on. And just to give you an idea of how it should all flow together, it should be something like this. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it should be something like that. Right, let me just read through some comments again. Yeah, there's we will rock you like. Yeah, something like that. Hi James, hi to Hack the Scratch Golf too. Okay, so if there's any questions about that, if anyone's playing along with me, let me know and I can always go back to it. Anyone who's just joined, there's notation notes in the description, and I have a couple of corrections on the Steve Clark fast lick there on the album version, so be sure to check that out. Another couple of comments. Let's read that. Yeah, some people call him sloppy. I think all guitar players are sloppy when they play live, including myself. He was very imaginative, I would say, as well. Okay, so if that's okay, I'm going to try and show and go through the Phil live solo, and we'll see how that sounds like. A good shot of this in the round video. Damon. No, there's a little bit when he plays the fast part. You can see he's got that. It shows him staying on the 9th fret, which is how I came to the conclusion that that's how he was playing that lick. But I'm not sure. There's not really too much showing Steve in playing that solo. Okay, alright, I'm going to move on to Phil's live solo now, okay? Let me just play it through first of all. It might be slightly different to all the notes I've written now on the notation, but the vibe should still be there. There might be a couple of odd notes here and there, okay? But I'm going to go through it. Let me just play through the ending as well, actually, just to get myself in the rhythm. So. Right, that's kind of how Phil plays the solo live on the In the Round concert. I know that as time went on, I think even on the Adrenalize tour, and especially up till now, he does a lot of shreddy stuff at the end there. I'm not going to be doing any of that. I mean, it's just, that's not something I can do. And it's certainly more of a, I think, an expression thing for Phil to do that. So I'm just going to focus on the In the Round version because I think it's just a little bit better to learn anyway. Yes, Hack the Scratch Golf, everything's going to get uploaded, so I'm going to try and not use any actual music on here so it can get uploaded without any copyright infringements. So yeah, so check that out. Okay, right. So I'm going to go through the Phil solo now, as I was doing, just bar by bar, just not necessarily strictly always a bar at a time, but just to see where our hand positions end up. Okay, so I've not written on the notation there, but Phil goes into the solo with a natural harmonic on the 7th fret of the G string. Turn yourself up. So that's how he goes into it. And then he bends the 13th fret of the B up a full tone, which means we bend it up to sound like the 15th fret. And what do you know? It actually sounds like that harmonic. Pretty cool, eh? So, I should maybe just always give tips on even the little things there. So see, whenever you're bending a string, you want to have as many fingers behind your bending finger as possible, because that gives you strength to actually bend the string. If you use your first finger to bend, it's like there's no strength in there whatsoever. So always do at least 2. Here, you probably want to do 3. I'm trying to use my pinky like all the time, so I've started to try and use it for bends. So you want to bend up a full whack, and you want to give it a bit of vibrato. Try and keep it nice and relaxed vibrato. Okay, bar 2, we have this little lick here. So we're going to move down. Our new home position is the 10th fret. That's where our first finger is going to lie. Bending the, 8th fret is the new home position. We're bending the 10th fret up a full tone, bring it back down. Sliding up with our third finger to the 12th fret, a little half bend. It features a few times in the solos, half bends. It gives a certain type of sound, and maybe they're quite a little bit harder to get it bang on the note, because you're used to doing like full bends. So get used to doing half bends. Okay, that seems pretty straightforward. The next lick is a pretty cool lick, I think. So home position is now the 7th fret. That's where I want your first finger to be. You're going to start with it on the G string, pressing down, but first we're going to hit the 10th of the high E, which I do with my pinky. I have a little D shape in there, and I'm not sure how well that's going to show on the camera, but when when you're barring something like this, so when I'm first playing that lick, I'm just pressing down on the 7th fret of the G, and then when I get to that part again, when I'm hitting the 7th of the high E, I'm going to flatten my finger so I can press down on the high E. It's not always going to be there, because you're in danger of having that ringing out on the high E string. So I have it just fretted on the 7th right now, so the flesh of my finger can mute the strings above it, basically. It's like a muting technique. So I'm not always pressing flat against that, but I do go like that when I'm playing this next part, which is... Okay, it's kind of like a little D chord shape in there, so that's the way you want to think about fingering it. So I've got a few more comments here I should probably look at. Just used to pen, okay, let's see if okay, thank you. I don't know, I've been playing it over like 8 years, Giovanni, so if that's quick, then that's quick. Okay, cool, so not many questions on the stuff. Okay, that's fine. I'll just continue on. But seriously, if there's anything I'm like going through too quickly, then let me know. But like I say, I'll be uploading the video afterwards, so you can always pause and go back through. Where do we get to? That's quite a cool bend there, that 10th fretted bend. It's not, you don't bend up straight away, you kind of go up slowly. That's all pretty straightforward. Then we're sliding up to the 15th. That there is what I'd call like a country style bend, where you're hitting the... See, we're bending the 15th of the B up a full tone. Then you want to bring in your pinky to fret the 15th of the high E. I think that's a very country thing. Can you do that with your second finger? Okay, yeah, if you're not comfortable with your pinky just yet, yeah, you can use your second finger for that and bring in your third finger. Sorry, Steph. Okay. Then, this is probably my favourite part of the solo. So again, nothing too difficult there. You want to have your first finger on the 17th, and then either your pinky, your fourth finger, or your third finger for the 20th. Again, we have that half bend in there. So afterwards, if you've seen on the notation, which is in the description by the way, if no one's got it yet, I've put a title, just say this is like the live in the round ending. Because up until this point, I think I've tabbed it as the way it is on the album version, which is why there might be a couple of notes that are a bit different. But this should be exactly how he plays it on the in the round outro. So we have similar like before. Okay, so we're back on that 7th fretted home position. There's nothing too difficult about that. Haven't written in there, but I'm pretty sure on that 9th fretted bend he does like a pinch harmonic. And since this was asked about last time, I'll maybe mention, don't know how well I can do it with the camera, but pinch harmonics, you if you can't quite play them yet, you want to try and get into an idea where basically you're picking the string with the pick and like a bit of your flesh of your thumb at the same time, and that just produces like a weird harmonic overtone. The way to kind of do that is to hold your pick in a way where the pick, I was to really exaggerate, so you have the pick like that way and you have your thumb over it. So if I can hold it up there, you create a little V. You see the V between my pick and my thumb? That's where you want to pick the string, but obviously it's not going to be that exaggerated. Although maybe you pick like that, I don't know. I hold my pick very close, so there's like hardly anything popping out. So you can see there'll be a tiny bit of gap to fit the string in that V. And then you kind of clip the string and it produces like a different pinch harmonic. It might take a while for you to do it the first time, then I guarantee once you figure out how to do it, you won't know how to stop doing it. That's what happened with me. Sorry, I'm just going through the comments just to see if there's anything I'm missing. Yeah, definitely country. Yeah, little double stops. Okay, cool. I'll keep going. Where do we get to? Okay, there's an where a pinch harmonic should have been, which didn't pop out. Now this last bit, I've got natural harmonics above these set of notes here, the third of the G and the second of the G. I think Phil pinch harmonics this, but I do it as like a natural harmonic. I think it's easier to get the tone out like that. Now when you're trying to go for natural harmonics down here, they're harder to pop out. So if you depress the whammy bar just before you go into it, you can pop them out easier. And then you end on the 13th of the bend again. Okay, hopefully I've explained that fine. But let me just play through it again at a medium pace if anyone wants to play along with me. Let me slow down my stuff. Ben, I need your help with that. Yeah, let me know, Darren. I'll play through it again first and just tell me exactly what you need help with, and I'll do that. Okay. Okay, something like that. I missed the pinch harmonic again. I swear to God, that always happens. Joe, I use a metal pick. Like, let me see how I do it. Okay, that's gone. I have another one here. Don't worry. Yeah, I've got like stainless steel ones. That one was a Def Leppard one. I should take more care of it. But I've got a bunch off eBay. Can't remember what millimeter it is that I got, because I bought a bunch of other ones which were thinner and you could bend them. But I found the right ones anyway that are exactly like my Def Leppard one. So I use metal picks, and I play very lightly, which is why I don't like break all my strings. Go figure. Because these strings are actually 8s at the moment. These are gauge 8s, which I'm starting to like because I don't know, just feel a bit better. Compared to, I've still got 9s on my Charvel, but I'm liking 8s. So a metal pick. Do you need a metal pick? No, but it's brings a certain sound if you want to try one. How does Phil play that palm mute section before he starts? It's something like No, he does all that as well. No, I don't know. I don't know Data Quest. It's too much hassle. I prefer it like this. No, Darth Welder, I'm just using a Boss ME50. That's where I get all my tone into a Palmer speaker simulator into my interface. Okay. Right, if that's don't sound like that when I try those dives at the end. Okay, do you mean like the harmonics, Darren? It takes a bit of time to try and pop them out. One thing as well you need to watch out when you're using like dive bars and stuff is that remember you're messing about with the whole, like, all the strings when you're whammy barring. So you need to get a good method of muting everything that you don't want. So if I was just to try and play those harmonics without muting the other strings, well, it actually turned out okay. Hang on. You know, you're whammy barring the other strings as well, so you need to try and get in a system where when you pop them out, use the flesh of your other fingers around here to mute the other strings. Hopefully that would help. What am I about love and affection? Can you play Love Bite Solo, please? I'll maybe do some like requesting that at the end of the lesson. Yeah. Right, cool. Nice one. So, that's the Steve live version, and that's the Phil live version. I'll look into the Vivian one that I've got tabbed out as well, just briefly. Because even though it's not exactly how Steve would do it, or not like not how the album version goes, as we now know, it's still quite a cool little lick he does. So let me just try and go through it. So we're now moving on to the Viv Live solo, which is not a particular one I've tabbed out. He seems to be quite consistent with it. I think I took it from like the Vegas residency, but obviously this isn't standard tuning. So it'll be a step up higher than that. Um, mm, oh yeah, Paul, good tip. Yeah, so I've got a compressor on, which helps the harmonics pop out. But it also makes everything else pop out too. So you need to watch yourself. On palm, do you bar the fourth with your pointy finger? I find it easy to do it that way. I'm not sure which part you mean hack to scratch golf. Right. So let me just try and play through. Oh, on Pour Some Sugar on Me, do you bar the fourth with your pointy finger? No, I don't bar it, I move my first finger, I think. Cool. Right. I'm going to try to play through Viv's live solo now, okay? Let's do it. Okay, I'm going to play through it at a medium pace because there's some slight notes here I'm not familiar with. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can hear how he plays that the fast bit. Yeah, he's made it into his own thing, which is I think is pretty cool. We'll break that down in a sec, but I do quite like that. Okay, look, I'll just continue with this now. So let's take a look at the first couple of bars. It's similar to the album version, but what I think is quite cool is he's combined like the bridge part, which is like the descending bit, you know. He's combined that into like the palm muted part. Now you may think, well, that's what happens on the album anyway, but he sticks more to the actual descending idea of it. Whereas on the album version, you know, it's a bit more like. Whereas Viv just keeps going down. So the way I finger that, because there's a couple little changes in there which are a bit odd. First finger on the 4th fret, use your second finger for the 5th fret. Or actually, I'm using my 3rd finger. Okay, so that first bar. When you get to that 5th fret of the B string the 3rd time round, that's when you want to hit it with your second finger, so then you can use your 3rd finger for the 6th fret of the G. So. And in that second bar, the only thing is once you hit that 5th, you're jumping down to the 2nd. But apart from that, it's pretty straightforward. The next line after that's pretty cool. He adds it more like an arpeggiated chord. So for that, second finger on the 2nd of the D, 1st on the 1st of the G. I bring in my second finger for the 2nd of the G. Open high E with the B. Slide up to that 4th with your second finger and then back down again. Okay, let me just go through a couple more comments. Hi Panda. Black Betty, I might do that for the intro thing. The songs in the title, we're doing the Armageddon solos. Notation notes in the description if you want to play along. Okay, so this fast part, which is how we always used to try and play the Steve solo. Viv does it quite a cool way. So because we're just pulling off from one fret to the open string. We don't need to worry about doing like 12, 11, 11, 9, so to speak, how we all used to do it. So for this, I always like to just pull off my middle finger. Yeah. So what's going on in there is you need to watch out, and it helps with the rhythm of it. You're pulling off to the open and then you're picking the open. When we get down to the fifth, that's when we no longer pick the open string in between. Okay, so that's the sequence break there you need to watch out for. So fret the note, pull off to the open, and pick the open for 12, 11, 9, 7. Sequence break on the fifth. Just pull off to the open and then go to your next fret. So 5, 4, back to 5, up to 7. Hit the fifth and we're going to stay in there for a little break. That helps us get our mind set into this next sequence, which is a little triplet hammer-on pull-off 4, 5, 4. So the way I'm playing that, use your first finger for the fourth of the high E, hammer on to the fifth with your second finger and then pull off again. Then the tricky part here is you need to bring in your, either third finger, it's probably a stretch, bring in your fourth finger for the set of pull-offs on the B string. Then we're just pulling off 7 open, 5 open, back on 7 to the slide. Okay, let me play through that really slowly and we'll see what it's like. So. Okay, let me try it again. Whenever I try and play something slow, it like throws me off with the whole rhythm of it. So slow it down once again. Here we go. What's tricky about that is when you're pulling off to from the 7th fret of the B to the open B, you need to try and mute the high E string so you're not playing the high E string as well, basically. Okay, let me go through a couple more comments. Sure, I might do a couple of riffs at the end, Panda. What are the chords of Steve Clark's I would like to do a song like Def Leppard? Basically every chord that's ever existed. No, I'm joking. Just not jazz chords. Right. And then finally at the end, I'll go back on a distortion sound. Oh, I'm getting weird sounds there. We've got this little lick. There we go. So in similar like Steve's solo, home position on the 9th fret. Once we hit that 11th, we're going to slide up to the 13th. Then we have that 11, 13, 11 hammer on pull up. Then we have these little double stop dyad chords. But what Viv does here, which is different to Steve, he plays those two chords, so the 9-10, then 9-9. Then he slides down to the 4-5 instead of staying up here with the 9-9. Okay, let me play through that slowly as well, and if you want to play along, you can join me. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. My laptop, which just went to sleep as I was doing that. Let me do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's Viv's solo. I think that's quite a cool way to play the fast part, and it's something a bit different. But I always go for the Steve live solo. Cool. Right, so I think that's pretty much all the tutorial stuff I'm going to do. If you've just joined us or you haven't seen the start, there's notation notes in the description. I think I figured out how Steve actually plays the fast part on the record. Let me just go over that again to see if I can play it properly now. Where are you? There you are. So before, when we thought it was like a sequence going down the scale from 12 to 11, 11 to 9, it's not quite like that. You'll see how it is in the description. So it's more so like, it's on a good setting. See, it's so much easier to play that faster. I'm starting to get the muscle memory for it, rather than doing... I cannot play it the old way. So it's weird with that string skip. But the what I think is the correct way, it just flows a lot easier. Okay, so if you haven't checked that out already, that's how I think the Steve the Steve album solo is played, which is also kind of like the live solo too. Cool. Like I say, notation notes in the description, links to my Patreon, where I upload other stuff as well. There's an email address there, and just ask me any questions whatsoever. Like I've always got something which I can check emails with. Okay, so let me just go through a couple more comments here. Yeah, well, my experience with music teachers at school, they just teach you the stuff to pass. They don't teach you all the cool stuff. My music teacher was like, that was good, but it was more so like just classical stuff. And I didn't learn about any cool jazz chords or anything until I looked into it myself. Giovanna, yes, that's how I learn. I learn by ear. And I think that helps me find the ways to play the guitar more comfortably, because I don't know, you just try and find a way to play it, and you find you're naturally going to do something that's more comfortable for you. But what you should do, I mean, I used to look up tabs when I was first starting out, and then I eventually realised that a lot of them were wrong, or they just didn't make sense. But you find that the more songs you learn, you find there's only so many ways to play certain chords. So if you're learning something new, you think, oh, that chord sounds like the chord I played in that other song. Well, try it, and it's like, hey, that is the same, or oh, maybe one note's slightly different, or you know, etc., etc. So just give it a go like that. I was asked to try and play through the solos from Fractured Love from a Patreon, so I'm gonna try and just demo that now slowly to show a couple of the speedy parts if I can. But if there's any questions of that you want to ask, I know there's a couple of requests for showing certain parts, so just ask me that again so I can see them, and I'll try and do that. But let me try and play through Fractured Love if I can. Something like this. 2, 3, 4. 2, 10. Okay, now there's a couple of quick licks in there that I think I need to point out. There's this little triplet scale run. 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10 on the A and the D string. So you're just hammering on. Ending on the 9th of the G, and then go to the 8th of the B. Even though I'm using my pinky a lot more, it's still a hell of a lot easier for me to play that awkwardly like this. And what other quick bits in there? guess that's quick. Let me slow that down. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, hopefully that's fine. I seem to spend a lot of time learning songs, so then I get my head around it to feel. Day After Day. Okay, yeah. Day After Day is a lot like Too Late for Love. So, if you never played Day After Day, but you know Too Late for Love, you can give that a go. So Day After Day is like. Yeah. Let me play the clean riff first. So it's these like major third chord shapes here. So this first chord shape, D major, fifth, there we go, fifth of the A, fourth of the D. Move that down 2 frets for the C. Move that down 2 frets for the B flat. It has an odd sound because it's like 3 major chords in a sequence like that, when usually it'd be like a D minor. But it's actually a D major. And then, you know, as it gets heavier, then in the chorus, I don't think it's those major chords, it's just like power chords. Even the pre-chorus actually is like the bridge in Too Late for Love. If I can remember, it's like I can't remember. It is quite similar though. It's similar to the bridge anyway. I need to look that up again. Cheers, Brian. But let me look that up. No, wait, I can't play it because then I might get copyright. Yeah. Take my word for it. If you look at my video, you've learned like the bridge on Too Late for Love. It's a lot like that. That's it. Something like that. Hi, Caramel. That's the way to say it. Paul, yeah, I was just using the stomp box mode whenever I make a video. But live, I was using it on the memory mode just for like to have a boost setting. So I had a clean, like a rhythm and then like a lead. But yeah, just using stomp box mode because when I'm doing something like this, I want to be able to like turn on the chorus and what have you. Let me just actually go through my settings because these never change really. So this is just with a compressor on, nothing else. Let me bring in the chorus. I've got reverb coming through on on Logic, the program I'm using. I've got the delay here. And then the distortion is like set halfway, the gain, and because of the compressor on, it squeezes out the sustain. You can't quite go and have a bite while that's sustaining, but it's good enough. But of course, like you mentioned earlier, when you have a compressor on, it brings up a lot of noise from everything else. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else I've missed to play. But like I said, if you've just joined us, we went through the tutorial for the live versions of the Armageddon solos from Steve, Viv, and also Phil's outro from the end of the round. I think I figured out the actual album version of Steve's solo, and it's all notated. There's a link in the description. So yes, I think that's. Hopefully, I've covered enough for the solo. I'm always a bit wary when I made videos about explaining things clear enough. So if there's anything like I maybe brushed over quickly, then do let me know. But yeah, I always, from now on, with every cover I'm doing, I put my notation notes up on Patreon, and I'm trying to go through all my old videos as well, so I have notation for everything. But it takes a bit of time to do. But my Patreon, it's like $5 a month, and I try and get as much content up there as possible. And people ask me stuff on there, so I try and help out with that. And I've got like email address there for like custom tuition. If you just want a custom notation for a song, if you want to figure it out, I can help you out. Or like video lessons or Skype lessons, then I can do that as well. Hello Trayson, that's how you say it. Okay, a couple of comments. Thanks Caramel. What are ways to get faster fingers on the fretboard? Is it just like a feel thing or what? You just have to, I assume you mean like to play quickly or to play up to speed. It's all muscle memory. You know, whenever you're learning something new, your muscles have never done that thing before, so it's going to take time to build up. So whenever you find something, let's say you want to do an exercise of just going up and down the fretboard with like hammer on. For instance, there I'm just hammering on from my first finger to my second to my fourth. You could just be sitting there watching TV while you do that. You just keep doing that, and just get your muscles used to doing something like that. And a big thing I find when you're doing anything quick is there's always a urgency to like tense your muscles to play quick, but you need to tell yourself to relax, especially if you're doing vibrato. You need to try and get your body to relax, and that just helps everything flow a lot easier. And really fast stuff isn't necessarily fast, it's that it flows. You might think something looks slow on paper, but if you can get it flowing nicely, it sounds fast. What else we got? What are ways to get it fast? No, I've done that one. Sorry, how do you do slides down or up the fretboard? Whenever I do it sounds like notes and not the slide. So maybe the speed of your slides. A big thing, if you're doing slides, you want to look at where your destination is. So I'm going to slide from the 5th fret up to the 12th fret. My eyes are going to be on the 12th fret. And again, that's a muscle memory thing, doing those lengths of slides. I guess, yeah, obviously the slower you do it, sounds like individual notes. You want to put a bit more pressure on the fret so you can like push into the neck as you slide, I guess. I think that's what I'm doing. I'm pushing into the neck. Yeah, so maybe try something like that if you find you're just doing it lightly. Push into the neck, like you're pushing like that way into it. Like put your force going that way. And maybe that'll help. Hey Doltech. It's heartening to see what a global community. Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. I think we have everyone from maybe every continent. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit late in the east. Can you play Motorhead Ace of Spades? I used to know the solo actually, like when I was 14, a version of it. I don't think I've played it since then. Honestly, I don't think I can. Dun, 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 dun. That's not the right key. It's something like that, isn't it? I'll maybe do it one day. I don't know. I don't listen to that a lot. Hey Richard, I used to have all those segments of the 12-inch. Yes. These are all the 12 inches. I've got another 12-inch down here. And I'm not talking about whoever said about another 12-inch. I'm not talking about that one because it's non-existent. I've got Have You Ever Needed Someone So Bad as well, which has where's the opening? Oh, there it is. It's got Vivian on the picture disc. It's quite cool. Why I have this one? Because I came across it in a local shop with that Armageddon one. Those were the first two I found, and then I was looking at collecting them all. Of course, it's ongoing. So the stereo one's a limited edition one as well. It's got like a poster on it. Take the front. It's like the collector's edition one. It's like that. It's got a poster and what have you. And then I'll just put that there. Then this one, I don't know why it's like this, but this is like Rocket and Pour Some Sugar on Me. It's like a double. I don't know what the term is, double A side. So that's that one. And then the Love Bites one is like the Final Coming one, as it's called. It's got the extra segments in it. But yeah. Like I say, I've got them up just so there's something there rather than a white wall. I'm not trying to like... Yeah, maybe I am showing off a little bit, I don't know. Sorry, I've missed a bunch of comments. I'm just scrolling up through them. Hi Pedro, how's it going? I've not tried much Boston, Brian, no, and I don't know that song. I only know More Than a Feeling, like the entire planet does. Hey Hellspawn, should play White Lightning solo. Trazen, look up, not long ago I did an Adrenalized solo compilation. I put all the solos back to back, no editing, played them all live. So check that out. It's probably not the best take of White Lightning. And I've mucked up a pinch harmonic on Personal Property, but it's pretty good. I'm not sure, I'll try and play it once I read the rest of these, okay? Caramel, yeah, I used to listen to Killswitch Engage. That's one of my favourite songs, My Curse. I'm not going to play it because I don't know how to, but it's like... It's like they were good at doing the harmony chord things, like Rose of Sharon in the pre-chorus, the way they have the two guitars going at each other. I think it's very cool. Cheers, Delma. What system are you using to get the DL sound? I've got a Boss ME50, a little blue thing from 2000 something, early 2000s, into a Palmer speaker sound, into my interface, a Def Leppard sound. I don't know how to properly get one, but what I've found, I have my distortion on halfway, so it's quite clean sounding, and I have a compressor on it that squeezes out the sustain. I put on plenty of chorus, and I've got a delay. That's a Def Leppard sound. Cheers, Brian. Darth Welder. I don't listen to much Thin Lizzy, but I was gonna do what's the song I like? I had my iPod on shuffle, like everything, like thousands of songs, or how many ever songs are on. And there was a cool Thin Lizzy one that was on. I need to try and remember what it was, but I didn't want to do a cover of it. It was like an upbeat one. I need to look it up. I'll look it up while answering questions. And I'm still I'll play White Lightning as well, I haven't forgot. I've been following you for a couple of years. Do you Dokken? Hi Ronnie. No, I don't really listen to Dokken. To be honest, I don't listen to much of the 80s guitar scene. That might sound weird to say, but it's true. Not at the moment anyway. But I do want to do more. I do want to force myself to learn more, just for a guitar point of view. So, I could do that. So on my obligatory 80s metal stuff, I want to do more of the typical tracks from there. What's it called? Still not dedication. I don't recognise it. Surely it's on this one. This is the one we've got. Greatest hits. Temptation, I'll find way back. Showdown, Black Rose, Rocker. Dedication. That's it. I like the song Dedication. That's what I want to do. Hey, I probably could have found out by reading the next comment. Hi, Wheelwood. I admire your dedication. Feels nice as somebody who's going through all the work. Good. It makes me really. I feel really good reading something like that. That people can learn how to play this music, because this music's always brought a lot of joy to me. So if I can help in any way making other people feel that by playing, then that's great. Because you know, there was a few hurdles in trying to learn all this stuff when, you know, I was just listening to it and like watching the live concerts. You know, there wasn't as much tutorial content when I was learning, but it was still very fun. So it's great if I can help people a bit quicker than I did. Hi, Samanjus Montez. Do you have any riff 80s that you give? An 80s riff? What's a typical 80s riff? Someone give me a typical 80s riff, I'll see how I can play it. I'm still going to play White Lightning, sorry, I will do that. Deals to the Struts, no, sorry. I do know who they are though. Because someone's... I did Song and Emotion. Actually, I need to make that public. I did a cover of Song and Emotion for the Steve Clark Guitar website, and it was exclusive for there. So it's just unlisted, so I can make that public and show you guys that. Okay, White Lightning solo. Something like 2, 3, 4. Okay, so, then there's a fast bit in there I can't quite remember just yet. Okay. Round and Round, yeah, Darren, that's coming. It's quite a hard solo on that, so I'm still like putting it off to the side. Alright, Caramel, yeah, on Reason to Live, I just added a little bit at the end. It's cool that you thought that was actually in it. I like that song a lot. See you later, Darth. Catch you later, Paul. Yeah, when for music, I want to do more. I might want to redo that Bring on the Heartbreak one, maybe like a lesson like this, because there's some cool stuff in there that I might not have got correct straight away, but I'm going to see about that. Desert Song, Brian? Yeah, sure, hang on. Something like that, I think. Yeah, treason. Yeah, I use a metal pick. In fact, I need to pick up the other one. Remind me, because I don't want to lose that. Stainless steel ones. I've got a Def Leppard one, and I was able to find the right thickness. In fact, I'll put it in the description from now on, the thickness, because I got like a bunch off eBay, quite cheap, because I don't know where actually does proper steel picks apart from like getting a Def Leppard one, but it's exactly the same, like thickness and I mean I think the quality will be slightly less because it's like probably a cheap steel, but it sounds the same for me and it's still as comfortable to play. I did get a bunch of other metal picks which were a little bit thinner, which aren't great, so I'll put the right ones up. Iron Man, sorry, I'm not. You mean like That's surely Iron Man, isn't it? It's probably in the wrong key, but that's it. Um, mm, Sorry, I've missed a bunch of comments. Send you the video how Phil play multiple songs up close just to check out. In what? How do you mean, Brian? How do you mean to check out? Thanks. Thelma, Journey. I'll probably just be a couple of riffs from "Be Good to Yourself" because that's all that's in my head at the moment. Waldo, I don't really, because all my guitars have bridges on them with springs, so it kind of mucks up the balance. So that's why I don't do. That's why I used to just speed up songs to play them, but now I pitch them up. But I was thinking of keeping my headless guitar in a different tuning because that's easier to stabilize. It's actually pretty good for that. I did Motley Crue, Girls, 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 and I think they play in D standard, and that's what I tune to. But that's all I do. I mean, yeah, I used to do like drop D and drop C sharp for when I was playing Killswitch Engage, but yeah, that was it. Thanks, James. Stand Up Kick Love. I love that song. This Could Be the Night by Loverboy. Sorry, I'm not familiar with that. Salmon, just I really liked the 80s music until I started playing the guitar and I wanted to do it too. Thanks. I managed to appreciate much more. Cool. Hello to Prue as well. Yeah, Panda, like, I really thought with the Hysteria 30th that we were going to get, like, all the demos from Hysteria. Because they showed at least 3 versions of the Animal demo on the classic albums. But maybe that's not for our ears just yet, or maybe ever. But yeah, I wish we could get more. We would, yeah, I'd like to do the B-sides like that, Burnout. Maybe I'll do them soon. Went for music, I started playing 16 years ago, and it was always Def Leppard that I learned. So maybe that says something. Be Good to Yourself is like... something like that. Mother's Talk, I'm not sure what song that is, Maxi. Cool. Right, so I'm just going to say again, if anyone's just joined us, I did a tutorial on the Armageddon solos, so the live versions that Steve would play and Viv would play, and also Phil's outro. But at the very start, I went over the album version of Steve's solo. I think I finally got that figured out. It's different to how we all used to think of how to play it, so I'm pretty pleased that I think this is what it is. And there's notation notes in the description. There's a link to download it, so be sure to check that out. And I've got a specific notation which shows the 2 different ways to play the Steve solo. So what I think is now the correct way, and then the old way we used to all play it. Cool. Cool. Yeah, caramel. It sounds like caramel, as in caramel. So good. I actually appreciate a factoid like that. So thank you for sharing. Cool. Right, I'm gonna just try and play through this Steve. The new method of the quick solo for Steve. I want to build up my muscle memory a bit more. So if there's any more questions, just send them in. Any more requests, and maybe I'll finish up the stream in the next 10 minutes or so. I'm going to try and build up my muscle memory for this, because maybe I should do a separate video on it as well. But the new Steve solo, or the quick way, let's see. The hard bit on that is really the going from the nines all the way down from the B, the high E to the G. It's like you want to just pick, like just do like an upstroke for that, like you sweep it, but I just want to keep it on the alternating. It's going to take a bit of time, but I do think that's how he plays it now. Ronnie, Switch 625, any specific parts or should just play through and see how far I can get? No worries, Thelma. Okay. Let's go into it. One more try. That fast part there, I don't know if they play it down there, but I always thought that was easier to play that stretch rather than doing like the string. Yeah, it's easier down here. But yeah, so I obviously I did the compilation of the high and dry solos as well, so you need to check that out if you haven't. And I put a notation on my Patreon for that as well. Hey Don. Cheers. I'm gonna hopefully keep all the covers coming and all the popular stuff and all the obscure stuff and that as well. In fact, there's an obscure song I'm wanting to do, which goes something like this. If anyone gets that, well done. But yeah. So I think I'm gonna wrap up in a couple of minutes. Sorry Giovanni, I don't know any black keys. Maybe I should check them out. I'm not listening to a lot of guitar stuff at the moment. Listen to a lot of Steve Porcaro, because I don't know, all my favourite musicians seem to be called Steve. I'm really into his music at the moment. But yeah. So I'll just say once more about, there's notation notes in the description here. To follow along, I will upload the video of this afterwards as well. And hopefully it's easy enough to follow along. I hope anyway. But if there's any updates with any of the parts, I'll be sure to make a video. I might make a separate video on the actual Steve lick if many people care about that as much as I do. But yeah. Sorry Dom, I'm not sure about Scorpions either. Again, I only know the What's their big one? Rocky Like a Hurricane. No, they have the other one, like Wings of Winds. Something else. Yeah. My recall memory's bad at the moment. No problems, Ronnie. Cheers, Darren. Somanjas, sorry. Yeah, I not necessarily a band, so to speak, but I release music with like under the name Super Monaco with my brothers singing, and we're gonna try and get more stuff done soon. Excellent. Cheers for that. Just please keep the quotes coming. Yep, we got $5,000. We got $5,000. Party on. Okay, I think I'm gonna wrap up now. So yeah, thanks for joining me again, and I do like the idea of doing this doing tutorials on a stream, so that if there's any things I'm not explaining quite as clear enough, then people can ask. And it's easier to do it like this and keep it all raw and unedited, so you can hear me muck up a lot more. And I think it's easy enough to set aside a couple hours to do. But yeah, so notation notes in the description. And hopefully this will upload soon. I don't know how long it normally takes. It just like, because once I end the stream, it stays on YouTube, and then eventually will upload. So I'm not sure how long it's gonna take, but yeah. A couple more comments. Cool metal or dad. Yeah, a big thing about the guitar is really all the little things that add up to make things a bit easier to play, so to speak. So it's cool you feel that. Cheers, Don. We would never really consider that. I don't like them, the PC ones. Like, I like his old Jacksons, the ones that like have a Jackson head. Like they're my dream guitars basically, and his new ones. I mean, the PC one, no doubt it's a really great instrument because a lot of country players play it apparently. But I don't like. I'd rather just get a Fender, like a nice Fender Strat at that money. I mean, and I think a Jackson should always have a Jackson head, and I only think a Fender should have a Fender head, and I've got a Charvel, and I'm even saying that. Like, I would change the Charvel head because it just, I don't know, it just doesn't look right to me. And the Sustainer, yeah, the Sustainer I think is a bit of a gimmick. I mean, I can imagine if I had one, I'd just play about with it all the time and like run out of batteries like constantly. So, and I don't. I mean, it's cool to have a Sustainer to do like EBO effects, but when it's always on the harmonic setting, it sounds a bit too predictable. Something with feedback was always about there was like you didn't know what you were gonna get with feedback. Certain moments, certain harmonics would ring out with feedback, whereas on the Sustainer, it's always like the octave above type idea. So yeah. Yeah, Metal Dad, I mess up all the time, especially on something like this where I'm not like, yeah. Billy Idol songs. I don't know any, but it would be cool to do some more Steve Stevens stuff. I did cover Dirty Diana, which features Steve Stevens, but I'd like to do more like that. Yeah, I can imagine it's cool to have a Sustainer. I would like to get an EBO, because I like Big Country and they use a lot of EBO. But my dream guitar really is his old PC Archtop, the one he used in Love Bites. And I'm sure it'd be easy enough to put a Sustainer in that maybe if I wanted one. Probably not actually. Okay doke guys, I think that's me. I'm gonna have to awkwardly move closer to the camera to switch it off. So if any other questions come in by the time I make it over here. Top Gun theme, yes Darren, I'm gonna do that at some point I think. Cool. Right guys, cheers. And I'll see you next time. Don't forget stuff in the description, notation notes, links, email address if you want to like have like questions answered. I can do that. Okay, cheers guys. See you next time. There we go. Bye bye.